Now, what I would like to talk about today is talk about more on the micro aspect about my company, about some of the operations decisions and how the foreign exchange risk, the currency, would affect our operations, whether in a positive way or negative way. And then finally, I said we just share about is what I think the company will do going forward for the next 5 years. PharmEng Technology is a pharmaceutical consulting company, and we have about 140 staff and operating in headquarters in Canada, with operations in US, in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, Taiwan, China. In the beginning, the company started in 1997. Most of the operations were based in Canada. As you can see, as a consulting company, the major cost would be the labor cost. And because our clients are mostly multinational pharmaceutical companies, like Pfizer, GSK, Sanofi, Novartis, etc. And then the travel cost would be the secondary cost. And other than that, the overhead, the office rent, all the other, it probably contribute only to 20% of the overall cost factor. Our current business, in terms of the distribution of business, is about 30% in Asia, 40% in US, and about 30% in Canada. As I talked about earlier, since the major cost factor is labor, in the beginning, it's all Canadian cost because we hire Canadian no matter where they go. So outside of Canada, if you can hear me, let me know. We mainly collect the payment in American dollars. Okay. So you look at the in the past, when the currency, Canadian currency, was fairly high. Actually, it's up until like 2-3 years ago. I think at one point in time, a couple years ago, that the Canadian were slightly a bit higher than American dollars for like a few days. But still, other than that, it has been like hovering in the range, within the 10% range. And I know a year ago, in January of 2015, I think the exchange was probably about 20%. And look at today, we can see that the premium is 45%. For our business, and so before this happened, when the Canadian dollar was on the high side, for the company operations decisions, it's more how to have some natural hedging. The natural hedging is you essentially hire the local staff so that you shift the cost locally. The American revenue to American cost, the Asian revenue to Asian cost, and Canadian revenue to Canadian cost. Then you get some natural hedging and would be less exposed to the currency risk. But having said that, I think in terms of the North America operations, our major cost is still in Canada. If you look at Asian operations, the majority of the cost, it will be in the local currency. But again, I said before, because we deal with most of the multinational, the currency is not RMB, it's still American dollars. So in the last year, the fluctuation in terms of the strong American dollars, it does help us in the bottom line because business is very simple. Look at your revenue, look at your cost, and the difference you call either profit or loss. So I think the cost is really the same. For the company, is our cost is mainly human resources. The year was just over. Most of them will get an adjustment of 2 to 5%. I know how many, or I see many other companies what the normal wage appreciation over the year. But on the other hand, the revenue side, it actually is quite a strong impact for bottom line. Like just for example, we get a contract of like $2.1 million US in the second quarter of 2015. And the exchange at that time probably around 20%. And look at today, and that project will be executed to the first quarter of 2017. The cost doesn't change much. We talk about the 2 and 5%. wage appreciation, but the revenue, all of a sudden you get a 25% increase, which has no cost associated. Another operation decisions a few years ago, when we were engaging in more and more business outside Canada, you can look at PharmEng as almost like an export services company. You get the cost in Canada, you export your services to various places. The other important part I talk about is the travel cost, whether it would be on the hotel, whether it would be on the cars. So a few years ago, we look at it is, if I compare, it's more an operation decision, not really a foreign exchange decision. That if it costs me $40 to rent a car a day, $200 a month is not unreasonable to get a car rental for a week. And then if you 40 times 200, and then you take about 50 weeks, you got to 10,000, which costs in the car rental. And then of course you don't get 100%, even to 7,000, 8,000. But you know, cars today is fairly cheap. In the US, most of the cars report is actually the car report is usually company car is Corolla. We get about 14 of those in the US. But usually the cost is fairly low. You don't have to pay more than $12,000 to $14,000 for a car. So the operations is buy the car, instead of renting the car from car rental to help on the cost factor. The same thing on the hotel. I think the cheapest hotel you can go to in the States is probably $100 a night. Unless you want to really, that would be the lowest. Those usually you can't even get to that. So for staff that start working in the US, they cost them like $3,000 per person of hotel cost, typically. And the housing price, you realize in the last in the last 3 to 5 years in the US is not such a pretty picture. It's on the low side. Canadian dollars were strong. And so company took a position is purchase a number of the properties, one after the other, and right now I get 5 properties in the US. Not intended to make money from the real estate, but just measuring the operating cost of having a mortgage on the real estate versus the expense that you have to spend on hotels. And typically we get a 4-bedroom house, and usually we just put 2 staff inside the house. And the cost for most of those real estate, on average probably around, it's amazing. Don't even look at Markham. I think the average cost we pay for the 5 probably around just around $300,000 on average for a 4-bedroom house, 3,000 square feet, nice. One of them even with a swimming pool. I don't have one here. But the rationale for that at that time is more operational decisions, because of $300,000 at about 3% interest rate, it costs about $9,000 a year. You get another $9,000 for property tax and maintenance and whatever you have. It costs you $20,000 a year, and it costs you less than $2,000 a month. Versus 2 staff, it cost me $6,000 a month in expenses. But you guess what happened? All those property, when it was purchased, the Canadian dollar, it was not a year ago, it's for value or more on the within the 10% range in terms of currency exchange. But now I left, and then it get paid off as the operation cost. So I left on average about 20% mortgage left on all the properties, and they all went up in value because of foreign exchange. And number 2, the American property market, they bounce up, it all went up in the real estate appreciation. But you have to recognize it, that decision was not made to try to make money on real estate. That was never the intent. It's more an operation decision, is comparing the cost. So that would turn out well for the investment in real estate and automobiles. It worked out well for the contract. But having listened to what Patrick was talking about earlier, is how low could it go? Now today is 46% premium, and how much risk the company would like to take going forward. So my accounting manager is here today, and something we look at is now how to hedge the risk going forward. You get the good times, and frankly, it could have gone the other way. No one would have known that this would have gone this way, which totally to the favor of my company's operations, but it could have gone the other way. So one thing we look at now is how to hedge the currency so that we can we can capture the gains that we have today. I mean, some of the strategy, I mean, I know some company like James came to mind, talk about some strategy is maybe we can keep the gain at a rate of between 45–50%, because I know the cost. You know, you get the gross margin and then on top of exchange, and then if I'm happy with that, do I want to take additional risk rather than the natural hedging? So that is sort of the company is looking at in the future what we would like to do. So just to summarize, I think the reason I talk about this currency risk, but as well as some of the operations decisions. But the most important part is whatever was made in the past is the past. It was a history. What is important is what I'm going to do now at this stage for the next year and next 5 years, because that is the decision of the CEO. That's the decision and vision of the company, and that's what we're looking at right now. Is with this currency climate now at 46% today, how low can it go and what should we do? But I'm glad, I mean, in some way I know, I mean, I'm Irving in a different business. I sell US dollars, he buys US dollars. We are in a different, and I'm sure that many of you here, we might be, I mean, many of the entrepreneurs, I know you might be in a different business than I am. But sometimes you cannot depend on your company's operations, the profit loss, on the depend on the currency, whichever it goes. I want to make money regardless the Canadian dollar go weaker or go stronger. I may make more money if it goes weaker, but I make sure I cover my level if it stay the same and go stronger. So this is just a little sharing of my company history in the micro scale. Thank you very much for listening.
My name is Brian Chan from CJ Marketing.